Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another Raising Kanan Season 4 Theory and Prediction video. The topic of today's theory, okay? Famous was not killed by Jukebox. He was not killed by Unique. He was not killed by Kanan. He was not killed by Rock or Marvin. Instead, Famous was killed by his own father out of jealousy and rage. And there are some other tangible things connected to this theory that I will be breaking down today, okay? The reason why I'm making this theory is because I know I'm not the only person who wondered, what's the point in them showing Famous's father in this flashback and how he was traumatized by his dad? What if it at all has anything to do with Famous's death? I know people been questioning that, and I think I'm the first person. No, I know I'm the first person who can make this theory plausible, okay? But in order for this theory to be plausible, we have to consider one thing that I will be explaining to you guys in this theory. This video is going to be another banger. Go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get to it, y'all. Now, when I say Famous was killed by his father, I also want to add the possibility of Famous's father being a junkie, and here's how, okay? Now, in order for this theory to work, we have to view the picture that seems to be Marvin killing Famous as a possible dream sequence or hallucination had by Kanan during the stress of him losing Famous and trying to figure out who killed him. After that, anything is possible, including this hell of a theory that I'm about to present to you guys. Because after you hear this theory, by the end of this video, you will think that what I'm saying is a possibility. Also, as far as Kanan having a dream sequence or hallucination, we already are well aware of the fact that Power has a trope of having its main characters have hallucinations or dream sequences. So that alone gives this theory legs to stand on, okay? But let's keep going, all right? It's just so weird, right? How Famous ended up in an alley or a crack house. People in the South would call it a bando, underneath a mattress, right? It doesn't all the way seem like Unique would do it. It doesn't all the way seem like Marvin would do it. It doesn't seem like Jukebox would do it, right? So in order to make this work, let's start with Famous backstory and flashback and what we know of Famous father, okay? We know he was abusive. We know he used to go upside Famous mother head, Famous sister head, as well as Famous, okay? We know that Famous's mother formulated a plan to escape from that man. Now, what I also want to add on to this, right, as we can contribute to why Famous's father was probably a junkie and why Famous may have ran into or always knew that his father was in the area where he was found dead, okay? We know that in the flashback, when Famous's family is leaving, Famous is left in the house, right? Famous may have been close to getting killed by his father. What did Famous mother do? She pulled up, she stabbed Famous dad, and then they escaped. This leaves an opening for Famous's father to now become a junkie in the present Raising Kanan timeline, okay? Because we know how things go. People get injured, right? They get addicted to morphine or whatever it is, and that could in the future lead to a heroin addiction or some kind of addiction that would cause Famous's father, right, to then spend that point on as a junkie, moving around, being in crack houses, right, doing whatever fiends do, okay? Maybe Famous's father was on drugs already. And also, we can't rule out the possibility of Famous already knowing where his father always was. Maybe even his mother, we'll find out his mother was telling him, even though you know where your dad is at, your dad is fucking evil. Leave him alone. He's a psychopath, right? Maybe Famous occasionally went to visit his dad. Even if he didn't say anything to him, maybe he just went to go look at him, or maybe they did speak, okay? Maybe sometimes Famous gave him money, okay? Now, the same thing goes for Famous's sister Jessica, who may have stopped and visited him when she was in the city and seen Lou. She took it upon herself to go visit him at the same time. And then, right, if she went to visit Famous's dad, she may have said, hey dad, I'm doing something for myself. I'm making something of myself despite you being a bitch ass nigga. And Famous is blowing up too. Famous is on the radio, things of that nature, or Famous is about to blow up, right? Which will add credence to what I'm about to say, right? Because now we have the possibility of Famous being killed by his father out of jealousy, okay? Jealousy and in a rage, and because he's a fiend, and fiends are capable of anything, right? And when I say fiend, don't think of every person that's on drugs as somebody who's skinny and weak, okay? I personally know from growing up in the hood in 161st Street, Morrisania Avenue, Cortland Avenue in the Bronx, the fiends were very strong, okay? I remember a fiend was getting crazy with an older guy who was like a big brother to me. We jumped this fiend. This fiend kept getting up every single time, okay? Like dudes hit him in the head with part of a tree. He got up very fast. He was very, very strong, okay? It ended up being 5 of us trying to take care of this fiend. This fiend was strong, he was quick, and he was dangerous, okay? Now, when I say Kanan, I mean Famous was killed in a violent, jealous rage by his father. I'm saying a situation like this. We all have people in our family who may be on drugs, and every time you see them, they asking for money, right? So when Famous first gets out, for whatever reason, he ends up going to visit his dad, right? Maybe he ain't want to rush home yet, something of that sort. He goes to see his dad. He chopping it up with his dad. His dad's like, I spoke to your sister. I heard you about to be something big. Or maybe he's like, hey, I heard you on the radio. There's only one Famous Figueroa. There's only one Famous, and that's my son. Let me get some money. Famous, being just got out of jail, has no fucking money. He's like, Dad, I don't have no money. Thus, he gets into it with his father. He tries to defend himself, but his father overpowers him because he was already seen as a big, physically, right? What's the word I'm looking for? Physically presenting man. That's not the word I'm looking for, but we're going to use that anyway, right? Physically imposing man. That's the word I'm looking for. And he overpowered Famous, killed Famous, put a mattress over Famous, and then got up out of there. And we may figure out by the end of the season that Famous was killed by his dad only after Kanan possibly kills Marvin or whatever, right? Making things tremendously difficult between him and Jukebox. And what I also want to add, right, is the possibility of Famous dying over an overdose. Maybe he ends up in this alleyway. He talking to his dad. His dad is shooting up. And his dad is like, yo, don't be a pussy. Hit this. He hits it. We know that for someone who's never done drugs before, him taking the same amount of drugs, especially if it's heroin, that his father has, and I learned this in rehab, what could happen when I was up top and they was forcing us to go to class. If someone who's not used to the amount of heroin that they putting in their system, their body doesn't have the right tolerance, all right? It can make your heart stop and you will die. You go into shock or whatever. This could potentially be another way that Famous died, where his father contributed to it, but in a way, Famous knocked himself off. This is my theory, man. This is for everyone who feels like maybe famous father has something to do with it, but they didn't know how to make it connect. This is for y'all. Let's clap it up for us. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God-given. That's touched by an ink. That's on the dome, nigga.